Uh-huh.
And there we go. I've been to Romamoo. I've been to BJ. I've searched all over for a place to pray. I found the mosh pit and knew that this was it. I am a MOShnik and I'm here to stay. And I'm turning very gray. Woo-hoo, that's true. I found community that is in tune with me. Everybody sing, singing and dancing in our Zoomagog. Some contemplation mixed with elation. I am a MOShnik and I'm here to stay. And I'm turning gray. Actually, I'm turning white. A chance to meet you. A chance to greet you. A time to deepen what it means to belong. Let's have some fun tonight and spread some joy and light. I am a MOShnik and I'm here to stay. And we're turning gray. All right, let's hear Hoff in Heaven. The Hoff harmonica moment. Looking forward to someday Neil Young finding out that I stole his song. He'll sue us and then we'll be famous. Okay, enough of that. Welcome everybody. Anybody joined us since we began? Yes, Maira is here. It's a special occasion tonight because I'm not going to be talking that much, but rather oh, hi Orly. I'm handing things over to the producers of the MOSh survey, which I and we owe a lot of gratitude to. So Devorah will ask, put your hands together and give a big MOSh welcome and thanks to Galen and MOSh. Galen, it's all yours.
All right. So am I able to share? Yeah.
You should be.
Okay. All right. So before I do, just so I can see everybody, because I missed some people that came in, just want to thank everybody for coming to hear more about this report and the research that was done, our process and the findings. It's really great to see everybody. And I'm assuming that all of you are in the pool of respondents as well. So we want to thank you for participating in the survey and maybe some of you even in the focus groups. And then we also wanted to thank the member engagement team. So there's Sheila just came on. She helped us out, and Devorah quite a bit. And we got some support definitely got a lot of support from Reb Mark and Renee as well. So thank you so much for that. And of course, MOSh, my partner in crime, we had a great time working together. I learned a lot from her, and looking forward to making this presentation together with her. So my role is I'm going to go through our process, what our methods were, and I'm going to provide some of the key findings from the assessment. And then I'm going to turn it over to MOSh, who will talk about what next. What are we going to do with this data? So I'm going to go ahead and share the screen, and I've got a presentation. If any of you have the report with you, feel free to follow along, because the PowerPoint is not going to have all the data that's in the report, but you'll hear me review it. It's more of the slides are more of a kind of an outline of what we're going to cover.
Before you screen share that, Galen, a quick question, which is, if someone has a question about something, you want them to wait to the end, or would you want to take questions?
I think so. If you don't mind jotting it down so you don't forget, or you can put it in the chat, but let's wait till the end if that's okay. And I can always back up to slides that you want more information on. Does that
And
work for people?
and one more thing I just wanted to add. You said if you have a copy of it, I think everybody was emailed a copy of it.
Yes.
So if you wish to have a copy of it, look in your email or your spam folder. It should be there.
And I'll also add, it's been in the last 3 newsletters. Just click on the picture, the screenshot of all of us that is the cover of the report. Click on that, you can have the full report. And I also want to add, MOSh, thank you too for help with your editing in different times. So.
Did I leave anybody else out, Shosh?
Looking at the screen, you said Sheila was
Oh,
very.
Bina, wait, Bina.
Oh my
Bina
goodness.
and I started this whole process a year ago.
Bina. And there was some
So,
early
yeah.
ones done a few years ago. I think Renee was involved and I know Devora was involved. Yeah.
Yep. Great. All right. Ready? Here we go. Hopefully I can do this right. All right. Okay, are you seeing the cover page of the report? Great. Now I have to learn. Okay, here we go. All right, so like I said, I wanted to just share with you the methods that we used. There were basically 3 parts to this assessment. So the first was we looked back on some earlier survey work that Devora and somebody I don't know, Phil Rosenfeld and Renee worked on. There was a survey back in 2021. And so we looked at that and used that as a basis of some of the questions that you saw in the survey. So that was really informative to look back at what was done in the past. And then after we did some beta testing, Bina was involved. We did some interviewing of MOSh members just to see how these questions would work, one-on-one interviewing, and then we developed these focus groups. There were 2 of them held last April, 9 MOShniks total. I don't know if anybody here, because now I don't see who's there because of the screen share, but some of you might have been on one of these focus groups. And the purpose of those was to have some group conversations. We had the one-on-one, but then to have the group conversation where people could hear each other and kind of riff off of each other. And we learned a little bit more about how to ask the questions, what additional questions we need to ask in the third method, which was the online survey, which you're all familiar with. That survey had 22 questions, 5 fewer if you weren't on a service team. So it skipped over those questions if you weren't on one. And it was designed on the SurveyMonkey platform. And so we sent out an invitation through the MOSh newsletter to 468 newsletter recipients in June 23rd. And then we held it open for a week. So it was closed June 30th. And initially we got 82 responses, which is a great response rate. Of those 82, since we wanted to hear primarily from active members, because we were asking about the specifics of the activities that MOSh is involved in, we quote unquote disqualified people who hadn't been engaged in a MOSh activity in the last 12 months. But then they went to a page that thanked them and then offered information on how they can get in touch with MOSh. And so we're hoping, because they took the time to engage with the survey, we're hoping that they will reach out and we'll be able to re-engage some of those folks. But we're going to talk about that a little bit more when we get to the end and how we're going to be using this data. So what we ended up, after those were, the 12 non-actives were disqualified. We had 70 respondents. And of those, we had a completion rate of 72%. So we ended up with 59 complete surveys, which is a great response rate. And these are, of course, all active MOShniks. So that was really good, if you consider how many people you regularly are seeing. So an excellent response rate. And so I'm going to go ahead and go over I'm going to do a brief overview of the findings, and then we're going to dive in a little bit deeper, and then we'll open it up for questions. Okay. So the first thing that really jumped out is that MOShniks are engaged. Not just that we got such a good response rate, but the depth and intensity of their responses. There was a lot of open-ended questions, which often as a survey, and MOSh as well, as a surveyor, you don't get a lot of depth often because it takes time. But we got so much data on those open-ended questions, which really reflects how engaged MOShniks are. And just even from the comments, we love MOSh. We want more MOSh. We want to be more engaged. We love to participate. We want to participate even more. So that was just really, really beautiful to see those results. And people want to contribute in many different kinds of ways. And I'll get into that more detail of that. And then we also asked people when they joined MOSh. And so most joined during the pandemic. I'll get into a little bit more details, but the biggest chunk were during the pandemic. We also had a chunk from what you guys called the church years, and then more recent involvement. Oh, and then most come out outside of DC. 51% of respondents are from outside of the DC area. And then we also have, of course, people from all over the US and even internationally. And no surprise, Saturday morning Shabbat is the most highly attended of MOSh activities. Fully 2/3 of respondents attend most, if not every, Shabbat morning service. And the feedback we got in terms of what elements of the Shabbat service people appreciated the most, the music, the breakthrough rooms, and Torah teaching were the most highly valued aspects. But when you look at it, there's a number of other things that rated pretty high as well. There was a lot of interest in further Jewish learning, as well as ritual and social activities. And I'll get into more details on that as we go along. And we got feedback on the service teams, which was mostly positive. It was a little bit mixed in terms of depending on what service team folks were on, but I'll get into that a little bit more. And then we asked, what can you give back to MOSh? And people really want to engage with MOSh and offer their skills and talents. And so we're going to show you a little bit more specifics on that. So that's just an overview of what's to come here. Oh, and then the fact that 12 non-active newsletter recipients took the time to engage with the survey. So we'll talk about that a little bit later in our kind of call to action as well. All right, so who were the respondents? So how did they get involved? Most initially got involved with MOSh primarily through friends or friends of friends, or because they knew Rabbi Mark or Renee. And when did they get involved? As I mentioned before, the biggest chunk, 40% during the pandemic years, 34% during the church years, earlier prior to 2020. And then 26% in the last 18 months. So that's when. And where do they live? 51% like I said, in other parts of the US. So that would leave 49%, or no, I'm not sure what percent in the DC area, but a big chunk in the DC area, obviously. And then 5% live internationally. And we have details on more specifics on where people are from in the report. And a significant portion of respondents actually are engaged in other religious communities, both synagogues as well as other faith communities. 78% of respondents are engaged with other faith communities. And there's a high engagement with MOSh. 85% of respondents have participated in MOSh activities, Shabbat, or other activities in the last 12 months. And of these active members, 69% participate in Shabbat all or most Saturday mornings, and 31% once a month or less. So while we're on Shabbat, we did ask some more specific questions about that, and what are the top 3 experiences that people rated that they enjoy most during Shabbat services. So as I mentioned before, music, Torah teaching, and breakthrough rooms were the top 3. I don't think there's any surprises there. The comments, though, were great to look at. They indicated that people feel personally welcome and included, spiritually nourished, and moved by Rabbi Mark's ability to get the congregation dancing, davening, and communicating with the divine. And then one focus group, I thought I would just share this. One focus group participant shared that because of the virtual format, it allowed her to attend services in her nightgown when she was recovering from a pretty serious illness. So that came out of the focus groups. The survey gave people an option to share what they would like more from Shabbat services, so some suggestions. And I'm not going to list them here on the slide. They're in the report, but I will read them to you. Some of the suggestions included, and there's more for you to look at in the report, but some of them included longer breakthrough rooms. People wanted more time in them. Perhaps shortening the introductory storytelling to allow for this. Learning more prayers, contemplative direction. Continuing to train and involve lay leaders. More use of the sacred feminine in blessings. A deeper introduction of newcomers, more time for Torah study, including questions and discussion, and more in-person and or local MOShniks in person where the services are Zoomed. There are other activities that people rated highly as well. A lot of people, both in the focus groups and in the online services, talk about how much they value the in-person opportunities, the Shabbaton or retreat. And 60% of respondents have participated in either a Shabbaton or retreat. 50% participated in high holiday festival services. 39% have participated in Wednesday night educational gatherings, 27% in the weeknight prayerful gatherings, and 27% as well in local DC in-person gatherings. So we asked them, are there other experiences that you would suggest that you would like more of? And there's a wide array of other types of experiences people are interested in. Some of the top rated ones were 56% would like to have more Torah study, 49% Friday night Kabbalat Shabbat services, 47% other general Jewish learning, and more specifically, Jewish education, such as Musar, 44%, and MOShnik-led discussions, 40%. There is also a lot of interest in general social topics, such as book discussions or movie night. And there's a lot more in the report, so take a closer look at that if you'd like. As I mentioned before, we talked to people about service teams. We asked some questions about those. 27% of active members have participated on a service team, and the experiences were more positive than not, but they were somewhat mixed. 47% stated they were satisfied or very satisfied, and only 11% said they were dissatisfied. And then we got some comments to make sense of those numbers. And they indicate that while some teams have been efficient and effective, others had difficulty getting members to step up to lead or difficulty getting off the ground. So some suggestions include gaining clarity from Rabbi Mark and Renee on priorities, more regular check-ins, and possibly simplifying the structures that were created. And as you know, that's kind of been, the service teams have been on hold, and that's certainly been we're looking at that and how to restructure a way to engage people in service. And I'm sure you have a lot of ideas, so that's part of what's coming at the end of the presentation. All right, so suggestions, those are the suggestions. So then we also wanted to ask MOSh members how they want to be more engaged. And over a quarter said, oh no, specifically we asked them where they would like to lead, provide leadership. And just over a quarter said none of the above, but the remaining 3/4 of respondents, almost half, would like to facilitate breakthrough rooms. Did I put that on the slide? Yes. Facilitate breakthrough rooms, lead Wednesday evening topic teachings, and come up with Hoff health and happiness poems. And there was at least 10% of respondents open to leading each of the other activities that we suggested in the survey, such as the Wednesday noon meditations and movie night and book discussions. So there's a lot of people that are willing and available to step up and provide more leadership. All right. Then we asked people about their specific skills and talents that they would like to offer in service to MOSh. And there are existing service needs that might be filled by members with specific skills and talents. So we asked about some of those and found that 37% would like to offer their skills in teaching classes and programs. There were 12% that could offer some skills in general nonprofit management. 40% responded none of the above, but when we went down into the comments, there was a vast amount of skills and talents that we can tap that were shared with us. So for example, we have specific expertise in nonprofit law, accounting, grant writing, spreadsheets, social media. All of this was further explained in the comments, and other skills that were written under other included medical, business, the arts, website, spiritual teaching, and strategic planning. Okay, and I think the last bit that we asked about is what is it about MOSh that enlivens, inspires, and has the most meaning for you? We asked this both in the focus group and the survey. The comments were really thoughtful and often quite passionate. And so it's worth looking at those comments, but we did pull out some themes. And the top theme was Rabbi Mark and his style, the welcoming greeting, singing everyone's name as we enter, warmth, humor, enthusiasm, knowledge, and sharing the limelight with others. Another top theme was just the caring and supportive community. And the third, ruach, that is the services are upbeat and deeply spiritual, and that they're familiar, like there's a rhythm to it, but they're never the same. So there was a lot of appreciation. So those were the top ones, but a few others that I'll mention. Relationships among members, musicality, safety and intimacy, positive energy, leadership, and connection to Jewish renewal. All right, so Shosh, do you want to go over your piece, or should we open it for questions about the survey?
I think we should, excuse me, open it to questions.
Okay.
And there was one more piece, maybe add in the comments, if you have it, Galen, or I can do it, which is some of the other suggestions, and this is all on page 10 of the report. People want to know to provide a way to post events of interest, more teachings on the metaphoric nature of Torah and God and on being Jewish today. Perhaps even more participatory involvement with music and prayers, although we certainly aren't participatory. Members can invite other members to participate in leadership. Again, more programming like the book club and the movies. Care about how we offer feedback to folks, and more follow-up with newcomers, more musicians in the studio with Reb Mark from time to time too. So those were some of the additional thoughts. There were a lot of great responses that came through the open ends. But I think it's good to open up now before we move to the next piece.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So raise your hand if you have questions about the data.
Got a hand from Dan?
Yes. I would think that it is interesting or useful to find out the responses from the people that don't come regularly, or that haven't been here in over a year. Is there data from them, or were they just off the list?
Well, now I'm trying to remember where it was. It was like, I think there was a few questions. They were included in how they heard about MOSh, where they live, those initial questions. But once we were starting to ask specific questions about MOSh activities, it didn't make sense to dilute the findings with people who weren't participating, because then we wouldn't have really gotten to see, right? So that we do have data on I think the first 4 or 5 questions that are
Okay.
more where you
Dan,
came
Yeah.
from.
Dan,
not-
we have definite follow-up plans to follow up with the people who
Okay, that's kind of what I mean.
that were associated with MOSh and haven't been involved in a year. We're going to
Right.
follow up with them.
Thank you.
Right, Ellen, we have access to figure out who they are?
No,
Oh, you
Well,
don't?
not those 12 people because of the way
Oh.
the survey was designed.
Oh,
The
because it's an
survey-
anonymous survey.
Correct. However,
Ah.
could for Dan's point, which is very valid, if we should want to, we could design a different survey, a different way of reaching out to those, as we call them, non-actives. Yeah.
Yes.
So if I
Yeah.
may jump in
Yeah,
here
go
just
ahead.
for a second, to say that this is not a question, but rather a reflection of what an amazing amount of work that you all put into this, and it's how. It leaves me speechless, really. The breadth of the information that you've gathered for us will be useful in the days ahead, and the fact that there's over 20, so it's 25 people we started with. If you want to consider that a local synagogue out of Israel with 1,000 members or so, if they had done something like this, they would have had to have over 350 people at their community night to match the percentage of people who showed up. And of course, lots of people will listen to this on the recording as well. So you asked if anybody had any questions. I would also like to invite people, if you have any reflections on the on what you just heard, to anything that arose for you as being a part of this community. Dibarti. Well, you left everybody else speechless too.
We got Susan Triband, I think.
I'm wondering whether you collected any other demographic information about the respondents, like, for example, the age of them. Do you have any information about the age range, how old the people are?
I love that question. We didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
No, we did not. No, I think we should tuck that away and for future,
Mhm.
if that's something that people want to know. Yeah.
I think we could guess, but no, we didn't actually ask that question. We were interested in 2 things particularly. One, I read Mark wanted particularly to know when people had joined, you know, church years versus COVID years versus more recently. That we asked, we wanted to get the demographic spread, which we had a feel for, but I was kind of impressed that we have over 50% outside the DC area. That was pretty cool. Judith Dack, thank you.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, she's doing the Judith dance.
So, okay, shall we move? Any other questions, or I'll start moving on, because here's where Tuchus and Tish, you know that, right? You're Tuchus on the table now. So it's time for the call to action, because everybody wants stuff. I mean, there was a huge amount of interest, obviously, in engaging with MOSh. So it's time to step up, as you like, to engage. And what we really need, and this is what I think one of the issues we had with the service teams before, is again leadership. So we're looking for folks who really will take a leadership role, you know, and just start something, keep it going, get a few other people to help him or her do it, help them do it. And there's significant areas to jump in. And so I'll start with the next slide, maybe, if I could, Gail.
Is it not showing up?
It's not yet.
Oh, I lost it. Okay, wait, hang on.
Mm-hmm. And this is page 11 if you're following the written report.
Okay.
Okay, so first call to action is what I just said, energize our base. We have an amazing base here. It is, as Rabbi Mark just said, it's folks who come and show up and really want to be involved. So that's good. But as I said, I'd like to focus on the leadership element. So here you go. These are some of the areas, and some have already been solicited and some are new solicitations here. And what I would like to say is, please, after I'm finished, raise your hand if you're immediately moved to say, hey, I want to lead that, and or send me an email, and I'll get back to you. Dee Herman, who couldn't be here tonight, already sent me a note thanking us and suggesting some things she'd like to do. So I'm looking for it, and just put MOSh info. Maybe Galen, if you could put this in the chat while I'm speaking. Just put MOSh info in the.
You know what? I have to say, I don't know how to do that while I'm sharing my screen.
Oh, I'm sorry. You are doing. Wait, maybe
Yeah.
I'll do it. I'll do it after I'm done speaking. It's MOSh. Just put MOSh info in the subject line and send it to my email, which I'll put in. Okay. So here's some areas. For example, greater involvement in the services that we love. The Shabbat morning, the Hof poem. We're always looking for someone to be the Hof poem developer and reciter. And I think there's something, maybe Devorah, you can help me here, or Rabbi, in the newsletter. There's a place to raise your hand and say, I want to do the Hof poem this week. Excuse me, in the creation and the recital of the Hof poem. What a great legacy. What a great legacy. And then always looking for people who would like to be the breakthrough room storyteller. It's an opportunity to share your truth in a way that relates to the Torah portion, and you work with Rabbi Mark on it to develop the prompts. It's a great process, as well as, you know, an opportunity to serve the community. Breakthrough room storyteller. And these are in our newsletter, as I recall. A second thing is, and I'm going to turn for a moment to Devorah, about Torah study. There was huge interest in Torah study. So maybe, Devorah, can you update us what's going on there?
Well, basically, we're getting organized, and if anybody's interested, they can contact me and let me know that they're interested, and we'll go from there.
Okay, sounds good. But there was a lot of interest in that. The Wednesday night topic leading, for example, tonight, this was a perfect opportunity, having this Wednesday night setting, and it's kind of on our calendars almost every Wednesday night. There's something going on at MOSh, and it was a great opportunity for us to grab tonight for this purpose, for the survey, sharing the survey. But for example, Dee Herman suggested she'd like to do a little more teaching on her own spin on aging to saging. She has a unique approach to it. That could be of a perfect activity for a Wednesday night or two. If you've got something that you would like to share, that you have some expertise in, that you think might be of interest to the MOShniks, let Rabbi Mark know directly. Just speak to him because he runs the Wednesday night events. So just go right to Rabbi Mark and make a proposal. Another opportunity is, and I think Rabbi Mark just put his email in the chat. I think I just saw. Book club. There's a lot of interest in a book club. The idea has been bounced around for probably a couple of years. Somebody's got to grab it and say, I'm going to organize it. I would love to be part of it because I love to find out what books people are reading. I never get a chance to read them in time, but it's always fun to know what the book club's doing, but I can't run it. So please, somebody who wants to run a book club, send me a note. MOSh at the movies. Great idea for movie discussions. There's so many movies of Jewish content out there that we could watch together or watch in advance. I don't know how you want to do it, and share a conversation about it. Again, needs someone to say, Hineni, I'm here. I want to run that. Musar learning.
I want to run that.
Who said that?
Judith.
Go, you got it, Judith. You got it.
Because remember, we did do some films.
We did at least one.
The thing is, what do you all? I'm the Boulder Jewish Film Festival short film programmer. Like I just did a program of 7 shorts. But the thing is, it does cost money to get them. And do you think that would be odd to charge people to come on Wednesday night to the movies?
Judith, let's talk about it because let's leave that particular piece. But I think the fact that it costs money is not necessarily a
deal breaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also that we're not going to get granular about any of the ideas,
Okay.
but rather make
Sorry.
notes about them and get back.
Okay.
But thank you so much for modeling great action there, Judith, because just stepping up like that, because that's what we need. We need leaders. MOSh at the movies. Okay, Musar learning. A lot of us, me included, would love to know more about Musar. I do study, MOSh and I study with the Musar Institute, but I would love to study more here at home, which I look at MOSh as our spiritual home. But I'm not a leader. I would love to participate. And I'm not the organizer for it, but maybe someone wants to organize that, and it would be super. Here's an interesting one. There was a lot of interest in Kabbalat Shabbat and Havdalah services. And we know our dear rabbi is stretched thin already, doing so much, giving us so much. Here's an opportunity for lay leaders to step up with support from Rabbi Mark, but really lay leaders to step up. And it doesn't have to be every week, maybe once a month. Kabbalat Shabbat could be so beautiful. So think about that. If you have an interest in that, and even if you personally can't lead it, but you just want to help get it organized, there's so many lay leaders in this community who have skills to lead a service and lead a Havdalah service, who might like the opportunity to do it from time to time, not unlike Torah study. But again, it needs to be
Havdalah service.
Second.
I would like to do a Havdalah the Havdalah.
Would you want to organize it? I'm looking for organizers right now.
Yeah, I can organize it. We'd have, and then we decide how often.
Okay, you got it, Mary Rita.
And
Fabulous.
things can be offered on a one-time basis without committing, the second Saturday of every month going forward. It doesn't.
And
have
I'd like
be
to,
that level
I'd
of
like to
dedication.
work with Mary Rita on that, the Havdalah and the Kabbalat Shabbat.
No, okay, I'm not saying for Kabbalat Shabbat. I'm Havdalah.
Havdalah. And
You
who
need
would,
more than one person for Havdalah or just
Oh
one?
yeah, you can work with us.
All
Yeah,
right, I'm in.
you're in. Okay, Sheila, and Duncan too.
okay, Sheila and
Don?
Duncan. Okay, Sheila and Duncan. Okay, great.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for stepping up, Mary Rita. You are the best. You and Judith.
Still
too.
need Kabbalat Shabbat.
Okay, Kabbalah. Yeah, and again, don't feel pressure at all to do it this moment, although I'd love that. You can send me a note. Kabbalat Shabbat, if you want to help organize some Kabbalat Shabbat activity.
Say for Kabbalat Shabbat.
You are going to go.
To Osei.
Are you organizing? Are you volunteering your husband, Mary Rita? I can't see what's going on. I'm looking at the screen.
No, that's
So-
okay. We were just, I told you can,
So
Make it quiet. I'll do
Show-
here. I'll do a Kabbalat Shabbat. It's Amy.
Amy,
Okay,
awesome.
Yeah.
Shosh, you can keep me in the Kabbalat Shabbat discussion.
Is
Javi
that,
Danielle.
is that Dan?
No, Javi Danielle.
All right.
Javi Danielle, good.
DDK and Amy Kabbalat Shabbat.
Good. Are you taking these notes? If you've got them,
Wait,
Renee, I don't need to worry.
All
Okay.
I see right now is recommended next steps, call to action. Is that?
And Bina on Kabbalat Shabbat.
Bina on Kabbalat
Yay.
Shabbat.
We
All
need
right.
musicians.
Bina on Kabbalat Shabbat. Let me make sure I've got this. I've got Judith for movies. I got Mary, Rita, and Sheila and Duncan for Havdalah. I got Amy, DDK, and Bina for Kabbalat Shabbat. Did I miss anyone yet? Okay. That's awesome. Thank you. And again, send me a note. And anything else you have. The two things that we actually hadn't talked about directly. Yeah.
I'll also volunteer to be on Kabbalat Shabbat.
Is that Eliana?
Yeah.
Great.
Do you all know that you can see everybody's pictures at the same time as this screen?
I can't see anybody. What am I doing wrong?
Because it's
Hit the gallery.
gallery, but on the side, like on the right side, do you have a
Upper.
like film strip of some faces?
Some.
Okay, 'cause then put your cursor on that button, on that line at the center, and
The little white line.
yeah, and drag it over. I have 3 rows now.
I don't have anything. I'm
So,
on an iPad.
In view, go up to view in the upper right hand corner of your screen and click side by side gallery.
Yeah. Oh, that's
And
how
then,
you do it.
and if you want to see more people in your side by side gallery, grab the little, like what Judith just said, grab that little white thing on the left edge of the gallery. It's a little like 1/4 inch long line, and grab it and drag it to the left, and more people will show up. It will make the screen share smaller and your people square bigger.
And it's the right drag. It's not the left drag, right?
I have a Mac. I can't
I'm
help
stuck
it.
on Galen's screen. It looks like.
Oh, because you're in speaker view, sweetie.
How do I'm trying to change it.
Speakers at the top. No, they're standard and then side by side speaker, side by side gallery.
Do you see where it says view?
No, I'm on an iPad. It doesn't say view.
Oh, you're on an iPad. Yeah, I would need to open the iPad. We'll work on this, Amy, but not right now.
Okay.
There's usually I
Sorry.
have view as an option on mine.
That's all right. I can switch devices. No worries.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, little techie support there. It's always good. Okay, so here's 2 things that actually we didn't discuss much, didn't come up in the survey, didn't probe for it per se, that I just want to mention. And one is the website. And do we want more from the website? Do we want to work with Rabbi Mark and the website designer to make it even more engaging for MOShniks? I'm thinking now more so than specifically as a destination for new people, which it also needs to serve that purpose. If you are interested, and I'm looking at you, Jay, and Dan, particularly because we had some conversations about this, I think most recently at the Shabbaton, send me a note or send Rabbi Mark a note, or maybe both of us, and say you'd like to get a little bit involved with some website development. Okay? Is that okay? Rabbi Mark, you want to say something?
Yeah, before we get off this subject, I am going to get a little granular, which is I'd like to hear from you all. We're all together. This is the only time for me to hear this. Is there's so much information that goes into the emails, right? And I am not sure like what should go into the website. Do we need to duplicate things on the website that are in the emails? And how we get people to go to the website, meaning you all, to look for things. I mean, a lot of synagogues, it's people's first place to go to and not look at the emails, but to the website. If we're going to spend all of this time thinking about what's going into the website, I could use some guidance as to whether or not everything, like Shosh suggested, a schedule, for instance. But all of this needs work, and we have a webmaster, and there's a lot of things that go into this that are timed, and there are people who get paid at synagogues as a full-time job to keep up with this. We don't have those kind of people, so if you have any ideas about that, I would welcome a separate meeting, right, to discuss this. So if you're interested in being part of this, Orly, I see your hand up, and I know Jay is here, and Rick worked with me on the new website. Let me know that you're interested in having this conversation. And even if you don't want to work on a team, just let me know what do you think about what should go onto the website, what needs to be password protected and not password protected. In other words, what's general information, or what is for our eyes only. So these are some things that we need to discuss in a smaller platform. Okay, Dibarti.
Great, thank you. Good, yeah, because that could be very exciting. Another area that we feel we'd love to beef up some activity in, and again, it was not really in the survey, but I'm using this as an opportunity to put out a call to action, is the caring team, the caring group. Folks who really want to get involved, who have a little bandwidth time to help others in our community who are needy for whatever's going on. Could be bereavement, could be an illness, could be just some counseling, send them in the right direction. Any act of specific caring for other MOShniks. If you'd like to get involved in doing those kinds of things, send me a note. I've just put my email in the chat and put MOSh info, so I won't get lost in everything else. Okay. If you have a particular interest at the moment, raise your hand. Anybody want to step up at the moment? Feel like I'm at an auction, you know. I should get Judith Dack to do this. She's the best at this.
Well, that's a perfect lead into what I was going to wonder what is going on with fundraising in this community.
Good question, but hold that for the next get together, I think, because that also was not really so much addressed in the survey, but it's a great question. Great question. Separate meeting. Okay, so for caring, or if you want to work on fundraising, send me a note. I'll direct you I'll put you in the right direction. But particularly for the moment, the caring community, I think we could beef that up a bit, because there are people who could use some help, and we love everybody so much. We want to help them. Okay, so those are the two things I wanted to mention. Any questions? Any other questions on this section? Any other? Yeah. Who's that? Please.
Sheila. Okay.
Sheila. Yeah.
Are you taking suggestions for anything else? For example, I was thinking about maybe a monthly or around a holiday, maybe cooking. Cooking is a Jewish thing. Like I not only want to learn how to make sufganiyat, the donuts, I want to know if I can put them in an air fryer. I have no idea.
Would you like to take lead on that, Sheila?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay.
And Sheila, air fryer
take note.
donuts will never equal oil fried donuts.
Okay.
Just saying.
Well, guess what, Renee? You're going to be the first one. I want to learn from you. That's fine. I've never made them, but man, they sound good. All right, you got it.
DDK, did you have a question?
Yeah. You brought up the caring issue, and this is a question probably more for Reb Mark, but you know, every newsletter lists a number of people that are willing and able to provide spiritual or pastoral care. And I've never actually had, I don't think, more than one referral in 4 years as a result of that.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to know how many people are actually reaching out through that vehicle to ask for pastoral care, particularly for people other than Reb Mark. I mean, not Reb Mark asking for pastoral care, but asking for pastoral care from
That's the
people
next
other than Reb
topic.
We're here for you, Reb Mark.
Yeah, the other topic we can deal with later. but because it's one thing to say we need to beef it up, but I don't know that we can beef it up if the method we have for identifying people that want it is not working well. And we need to look at that as well.
Right.
Can I?
We're talking about two different
Go for it.
things, DK.
Go for it.
I thought your reference was to a caring team for lay members to reach out to other members who need support, not the pastoral care question that's on the email. There's two different pathways here.
Right. No, correct. What I was referencing was folks who want to be part of perhaps a little group that is on point to reach out to people more of an acute basis, more of like somebody's bereaved or is in the hospital or something like that. That was the one thing. Again, please, if you'd like to do some of that, send me a note. I think what DDK was suggesting was accessing, there's several of us who can provide pastoral care or hashpa'ah type services support that are in this very community. And I would suggest DDK maybe get together, if you're so motivated, with a mashpia. We have a few here, I know, and maybe do a Wednesday night program of what are we talking about? What is hashpa'ah? What is spiritual support in that regard? And what is pastoral care? And the two, and then folks, it might create awareness of what it could be and might, encourage people to reach out for it. Does that make sense?
Sure. But what I was referring to was really more of the acute kinds of need, not so much the, do I want to have a mashpia? Right. So, because I don't know because I would think that would be the avenue that people would come through now because it's the one that's evident. And I'm just curious and maybe the way we're framing it doesn't make it clear what kind of need we're looking for.
Didi, if I can answer that question, I think we do occasionally have people who reach out and say they would like a chance to take us up on that offer of setting them up with a chaplain for a meeting. And but we have a bunch of them. So I haven't, I reach out to various chaplains when that comes, but not that many people have reached out.
Yeah, and that's my suspicion that we have more need than people actually reaching out.
And we do have a couple of people, we have a number of different possibilities for different kinds of support groups that we're mulling over, but haven't gotten going yet.
It's a great point, though, that you raised, DDK, and it is tangentially related, not even tangentially, to the lay people who could help each other, member to member. You're speaking about people who are actually professionally trained to give pastoral care like yourself. And I broadened it to bring in the mashpi'im, who do more spiritual ongoing support for folks who might want that. So maybe it's worthy of a Wednesday evening is what I'm suggesting, just to create some awareness of those capabilities. I think Meira wants to say something.
I'd like to suggest that what we have to do is reach in so that, for example, in the role of chaplaincy or getting support from other MOSh members, that it's upon us, the MOSh members, to reach into those people we know are sick, are bereaved, are struggling, because we know that, and we need to pass that forward to whoever is leading this effort.
Right.
So I don't think we can wait for people to ask for help. We need to step in and offer it. And we had people set up and ready to go, and that team was disbanded. And I think some of those people would like to do it.
Cool. So I would say and I appreciate that, rather than get too deep into it right now, send me a note if you would like to be a leader to help organize that effort, because we could use it. We really could use it. As Meira said, I'm not so aware of the community in DC, certainly, but perhaps some of you are more so. So someone needs to let someone at MOSh, besides Renee, who ends up doing a lot of it herself, you know, take on the responsibility to reach out. So we could have a few helpers there and someone to organize it.
So, I'm not, I think we're talking about multiple different things here. So yes, I think, I'm not sure that this is necessarily a moment for this time, but clearly there's a lot of interest in this.
Thank you. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. If you're interested, let me know and I'll get it to Renee and we'll get something going there to support this effort.
Yeah, just
Okay.
jumping in here, that you and I, Shosh, we talked about the teams that were put on hold. If you want to call it disbanded, I don't think the teams were disbanded because you know who you are and what your interests were. So we didn't pull them apart, you know, like stretched mozzarella, but rather the process that we had before wasn't working for me, and it wasn't working for a number of other people. If you were on that team, then that is another get together that I would like to have. Let's call a team meeting. That team needs to be reinvigorated for the reasons why what you pointed out, Mira. Also, let's all be aware that we can take it upon ourselves when we hear someone's name mentioned during Birkat Cholim, the blessing for healing. Sometimes our ears perk up and we go, oh, I didn't know. So that's a golden opportunity to do. You don't have to wait for a team to reach out. People love to receive a text or a phone call, or just to know that you're thinking about them. Where do you find their phone numbers? On the MOSh contact sheet, which is on the website that is password protected. MOSh 2024 is the password. So that is certainly one thing that we can use the website more for in a private manner. So yes, Renee is absolutely right. There's a lot of different things floating around here. I forget who it was, suggested, maybe it might have been Devorah, a change of the wording that you might have noticed on the emails about click here if you need an ear as opposed to pastoral care. Right. And so I think we did get one or two phone calls when we changed that. But Dee Dee, I don't know if you're still with us, that we don't get that many people calling. But that also is the flip side to your Mira saying that don't wait till someone asks. So yes, people will call. And yes, both of those things are going to be active at the same time. And if you want to reactivate that team, which I would like to, let's have a meeting. Okay.
Awesome. So again, send a note, let us know you're interested. Send it to me if you'd like, because I offered to be the point person for some of the follow-up here, but it really will be Rabbi Mark who's going to kind of call that meeting, it sounds like, right? Is that what I'm saying? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, I would appreciate if all of this went through Shosh. Okay. And she's going to be like the filter things through, and then
okay. Good.
Then you have a list of people and you bring it to me, then I'll put the meeting together.
Awesome. But that is a high priority, which is why we wanted to bring it to the fore at this meeting, even though it wasn't really in the part of the survey. We see the need right now. So for that and the website, those are two things that are incremental to all the ideas that came forth out of the survey. So let me move on in the interest of time. I put my name in my email in the chat and just put MOSh info at the headline. Okay. So the second point, if we can go back to the survey sheet, Galen, can we screen share again for one moment? That was the biggie, guys. That was really what I think if we succeed in nothing else this evening, but to kind of spark some interest in people stepping up and Hineni, I'm thrilled and I hope you are. Okay, second point is to match the respondents with offers of skills. So we did solicit, where can you help MOSh specifically? There were some particular skills we were seeking. We got some answers there, but we got a bunch of other skills, which are also relevant. I will be getting back to you. Galen and I need to plow through the specifics of the granularity of the survey results. It's not hard. And pull out who said what and who offered what. So you will hear from us shortly. So stay tuned on that. And these are in terms of like, if you're a lawyer or a nonprofit management person or something like that. We need to get back to the data. Okay, third point on this, Galen, is reaching out to the non-actives. And I think we covered this with Dan's very appropriate question, like, how can we get more non-actives to kind of engage? There were 12 people, like we said, who wanted to be in this survey, even though they haven't been to MOSh in a year, even for anything, even for like a holiday service or something. They hadn't been to anything in MOSh, which is why we couldn't take their answers for right now. But we would love to find out more about them and perhaps why they haven't been more involved. And obviously the intention is to get them to want to get more involved. So that's a possible and a very important next step. And finally, last bullet point is something for everyone. So here we just summarized in the report, and you can read it on page 12. Be sure to read our newsletter coming out every Monday and Friday, because right now it is the main way we communicate with each other. So that's for the latest and greatest about what's happening at MOSh, and then zoom right on in. Check the website out and continue to. Red Mark, will we be changing that password to MOSh 2025, I assume?
Maybe we'll change it to an infinity sign.
Oh, gosh, okay.
It's
Stay
way too
tuned.
soon. Way too soon to think about that.
Thank you, Dan.
Get in here to think about 2025.
I'm
Yes.
skipping 2025.
Okay, just a thought, just put it out there. Okay. If you have any general questions about MOSh, we have two emails that we want to get everybody involved with using. One is info@moshdc.org. That I believe is Renee. Am I right, Renee? MOSh, are you?
Wait, I lost the thread. What did you just
I'm
ask?
sorry. Are you the person who receives the emails that go to info@moshdc.org?
That is me.
I thought so. Okay, so if you have any general questions about MOSh, just send info a message, send Renee a message.
But general questions or specific questions about something that I might be able to help with. Yes, I often hear second and third hand people saying, oh, people have been asking me about this, and it's from someone who doesn't know about that. And I wish I would love for people to write to me if they have a question about something I might be able to help them with.
That's
I do answer.
That's excellent.
I
Good.
can attest to the fact that that works. And she does that.
Awesome. And if you really want to get a hold of Rabbi Mark, there is a way to get him, which is rabbi and he put that in the chat, I think, rabbi@moshdc.org. And again, reach out to me for any of the specifics on some of these activities, these up and coming, bubbling up activities that you raise your hands for so graciously tonight and might want to think about and send me a note on. That would be Phil Levy, double L in the middle, @gmail.com. And that's really it. Or any other questions you have about the survey. So let's open it up for any closing questions. And then I'm going to turn this back to Rabbi Mark.
I think you and Galen did an absolutely wonderful, marvelous job, Shosh. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your help with it, Sheila, and for others of you who were engaged with it. And most importantly, who are going to continue to stay engaged and get more engaged and lead others in some of these really cool activities. I hope someone will lead a book club because I would like to pretend to belong to it. You know, I buy books and then I don't read them. So if you let me know what we're reading 6 months from now, there's a shot I might get it done, but I'd love to belong.
I'm happy to organize that for anyone that wants it, but other people need to think of titles because that's like one step more brain work than I have available to myself right now.
That's the easy part. Thank you, Renee. That's great. We'll put you down for that. Michael?
Yeah, Mark, you mentioned the importance of process. And as I listened to all of this, so many things came to mind that the process of, do we do just anything, or is there to be a MOSh way of doing X, Y, or Z if we're going to do book reports? Do you want to document it?
Reports.
Well, what I'm saying is that, one, to make sure you have a quality control, that it's worthy of MOSh's name, but also if and when we can start looking for fundraising. The fundraising wants to know, what are you doing? What are you going to do with this money? And then to have something that we prospectively collect, could be, something that would start, the oral history to be written history, and then at the ask. So just, I would underscore the need for the value of process. And I didn't learn that in med school, but I learned that on 2 different national boards where I had to learn it on the run. So
Okay.
that's it.
So the summary is, can we have a little sense of the process?
Well,
Right,
just
yeah.
that people, you got to develop a process. I mean, that's all.
Okay. Dan.
No, it's really me. So
Oh.
we're gonna put this survey into action. Would somebody like to do the first 2 blessings of the Amida on Saturday? Okay. Okay. Thank you, Devorah.
With the Huff thing.
No, Hoff's taken care of. I looked at the list.
Hoff is well taken care of now.
Yeah, but after today, after this Shabbat, that's not filled in. So why don't you go check it out, and then you can fill in the list. And if you'd like to lead the Amidah and you've already kind of done it with Mark, just let me know, because I keep on asking the same people. I might be missing some people.
Thank you. You're great at following up on that one. Yeah. Mary Haber.
So tired, I think I just forgot what I was going to say. But yeah, I want to acknowledge that when I was sick with cancer, I don't know if it was an official caring committee, but they showed up for me in the form of homemade soup. And that was fantastic. And I also think it's great to celebrate ourselves. Like, we're great. We're doing great. It's great to have this survey. We appreciate you doing all this hard work. But I think it's important to also say, look at us. We're fine just the way we are. And you can quote me on that.
I like that, Kavanaugh, Mary.
So I would say, just to sum it up, thank you again, everybody, for stepping up tonight. Hopefully you'll send me some notes, particularly if you're interested on this caring and the website, these 2 add-ons that I had, plus anything else that you find on page 11 of the report. Send me a note. Love to have somebody take lead on a couple of these things. Renee just stepped up for book club. So thank you. We'll summarize this and get back to you. And I think we've covered most of it.
Has her hand up. You just can't see it because it's in her flowers.
I'm sorry, Judith has a hand flower.
Gail.
No,
Yes.
Gail.
Gail. I'm sorry, Gail.
Yeah, so one of the things I especially appreciate what Michael said about, what do we want MOSh to mean? And part of that with process is to have consistent, messaging. So it really is, what is MOSh? And then how do we continue to extend that through the team as we build processes, as we build communication, as we continue to grow and adapt the website. So it really does take that consistency. And that's what I've seen in organizations that I've facilitated in the past. So I just wanted to really reinforce what Michael said.
And it's a great point. And I think that, but not for tonight because we want to move on, but I think that's great food for thought, and everything we do should have that
those key elements of who we are as part of it.
And
We could be more explicit about that, I'm hearing.
And,
Yeah.
and what's our why?
Yeah.
You know, why do you want to be part of MOSh?
And Shosh, if I can also add, I think when I say I'm happy to organize the book group, that's sort of part of what I do behind the scenes a lot, is organizing things. So anybody that wants to get something going, I'm here to help support doing the things and help you figure. So if there are things that we want to get done and you have the people who want to do them, you don't have to like figure out every step of it, how you get MOShniks to be in a Zoom room at X o'clock, whatever. We can help you with all those parts of it. I'm happy to assist anybody who's trying to make something happen. Just get in touch with me. I'm happy to help you figure that out.
info@moshdc.org. Hey, we should get you a t-shirt.
That's right. For whatever it is you want to help, or you want to organize, just be in touch. I'll help you make it happen.
All right. And I want to thank my partner in crime, Galen, who put up with some of my back and forth and not being as responsive at times when I would love to be, because she is so organized. I love you, Galen. Thank you. And thank you for all your substantive support here. It's great. Substantive work, I mean. Yeah. And thank you all. I'm going to hand this back to Rabbi Mark.
Thank you, Shosh. Thank you, Galen. I'm disappointed that no one joined us from Italy.
In the middle of the night.
Exactly. The fact that we exist is a miracle in and of itself. And I want to raise up Mary. Thank you so much for adding that to our to our evening. And it's a wonderful way to, I think, to end with, is to lifting up what we've co-created together. To understand that this, without COVID, this doesn't exist, and that we've turned a curse into a blessing, and that we have done what everyone has said could not be done, which is create community online, right? And it's with that I want to say goodnight and quote Rabbi Yirmiyahu from the Jerusalem Talmud, who teaches that one who's occupied with the needs of the community is like one who is occupied with matters of Torah. So this is the Torah that you bring. And we're looking to have Torah study. This is Torah in action. And we should always keep that in mind, right? It's through our actions that we bring God's presence into the world, whether it's bringing soup or calling someone in need or showing up, as you all did tonight. So I'm grateful for that as well. So let's give each other, as Mary is beginning to do, a MOSh thank you. Let's follow up on these things. If you have any ideas about them, any concerns about them, of anything that was discussed tonight, please filter it through Shosh, unless it needs to come, unless you need to talk to me about it, okay? Which is fine too. Hey, that's why I get the big bucks, MOSh. That goes on the line item, right? What does Reb Mark do all week? That we're paying him for. Lila Tov, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Shosh, you are
sing at the end.
What's that?
Don't we sing at the end?
We always sing at the end, right? What Shosh, you wanted to say something? You're muted.
Did you want to remind people to sign up for the retreat?
Oh yeah, I'll hock you. We're going to start hocking people towards the end, to mid-December.
No, we want to start hacking them now. Please sign up for the retreat. It's going to be an excellent retreat. And Rabbi Mark, do you have a theme for the retreat yet?
Oh yes, but I forgot. Oh yes, what is it? It is
building
the sanctuary inside out.
It's inside.
The second part is right. The second is because the second part, it comes from the fact that we just saw Inside Out 2, which is a great movie. So see that if you haven't seen it yet.
But
Oh.
All right, Mary, we need an ending song. Oh, you're on the phone. You know, so, okay, I'll
We're
keep
not
the
going to call the retreat wicked, right? Okay.
No comment.
Wicked. We have to see Wicked?
All right, since most of you don't come to our secret Wednesday meditation, I'm going to end with the song that we sing every time to end the meditation. With the words John O'Donohue. I would love to live like a river flows, carried by the surprise of its own unfolding. I would love to live like a river flows carried by the surprise of its own unfolding. A river flows carried by the surprise of its own unfolding. Let's sing it together. I would love to live like a river flows, carried by the surprise of its own unfolding. I would love to live like a river flows carried by the surprise of its own unfolding. A river flows carried by the surprise of its own unfolding. A river flows carried by the surprise of its own unfolding. Laila Tov, everyone. Thank you so much.
Lila Tov.